Today we're going to be talking about how has the last 100 podcast shows affected our real estate business. We're going to get started right now.
It's made me famous.
Welcome to the only real estate podcast worth listening to, with your hosts Nick Good, Matt Kelderman, and Brian Force. Combined, they have 26 years of experience and have sold over 1,500 homes. Join them each week as they bring you everything you need to know about real estate. And now, here are your hosts, Nick, Matt, and Brian.
Microphone?
No.
All right.
Is that
Episode 101. Guys, if this is your first time listening, by the way, today's podcast show is brought to you by Sphere Rocket. Right? So if you're looking to leverage out your business and you don't think you can afford a full-time in-person staff member, let's get with Justin Nelson over at sphererocketva.com, sphererocketva.com. Let's not mess with that right now. And if you want to leverage out your business with that full-time virtual assistant, you can get it for as low as $3 an hour. So go connect with Justin Nelson, sphererocketva.com. I'm losing my train of thought.
You're an
now.
unflappable bastard. I've tried to do the
dude.
intro a couple times, and I've driven us off the cliff every time.
We're so
Brian
drawing
was
you
just
off sides right
trying,
now.
to crash you into the bridge, and you just evaded him.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
And go to our Facebook group, the only real estate group worth being a part of. Request access in there. There's a lot of good shit being shared in there. So last thing that I'm going to request from you, if you have not left us a review yet, go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review, please. And Chauncey, this is going to be a fun one to watch because we do have a different background today.
It is a different background. This background is brought to you by alcohol. As well as this whole episode, because I've had some. You guys are catching me 2.5 hours after show start of normal time, so.
What are we talking about today, boys?
So first off, we need to recap our Vegas trip. So break us in on how
Oh, yeah.
Vegas.
Why don't you guys talk about the Vegas trip that you two went on?
First of all, that was a custody thing. That had nothing to do with you not
just
being
put
invited.
my mic down while you guys talk about your Vegas trip.
Okay, so recap of the Vegas trip. We went to Vegas, play golf. I sank an eagle from 93 yards away.
That's false news.
That happened. I sent a picture.
No one believes that.
Which part do you want me to recap? The coked up girl at the country club on the last day, or
That was fun. By the way, so
me and my dad beating your ass by 15 strokes,
dude, that was a bad day.
or
I just want you to remember you asked this question.
I understand that. So
Okay.
look, so we're talking about today. By the way, this is a live show. We've got people out here, and we're going to talk about how our business or what we've learned over the last 100 episodes of doing the show.
I think in all seriousness, the best place to start this would be maybe talking about a lot of people that are probably here, which thank you guys, by the way, we didn't rude. Thank you for coming out and spending your day with us because you guys could literally be doing anything else. I almost wish I was. I want to maybe start off by talking a little bit about our journey just with this podcast, because I think this podcast is actually a really great reflection of who we are as business people as well, and kind of all the shit that we went through to kind of get to an awesome event like this and have people actually want to come out and waste their time listening to us and like actually maybe learn something and all that shit. It's a good reflection of how we've kind of our philosophy around business in general. So we started this podcast.
I think it's funny that because I know Brian's about to get profound, and I realized that this podcast started because of day drinking, and it's happening today because of day drinking.
Honestly,
That is 100% how it started on day one.
on day
And
one.
the evolution of it has actually been the coolest part for me.
So
Wait, let's go back because, by the way, this wasn't the trio on the podcast.
No, we had one other guy. It was like how Blink-182 used to have a different drummer.
I don't know what that is.
That's a
I indulge him with a laugh.
that's a pretty niche joke. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So the way that this started originally was we know some dude who had a studio in a garage.
And he asked us to come film a podcast to test out his new setup.
No, he asked me to
Okay,
come
yeah.
out, right?
And
He
I was
asked
like,
me.
I'm coming.
Let's bring it back to me real quick. So he asked me to come out, and he's like, hey, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, fuck if I know, right? So I'm like, I do better with people around. I'm not just going to talk to myself. And so we start texting. We start texting people of who can come out on a Saturday, I think it was. And turns out you were available. Brian was available.
Turns out you responded.
Yep.
So did Brian.
Kristen, you know what would be just amazing with this podcast? Can you hold my phone and just read the comments into the microphone? Nick's wife is commenting. Oh, this would just be fantastic. Find your moment. Don't talk over people. We're good, but find your moment. Oh, Jesse will do it.
So we start this podcast, right? And we're sitting here wondering how can we turn this into something? Right? We have our first show. We're shooting the shit.
What did we talk about on our first show?
I do not remember.
I don't remember what we talked about
were
on any
blitzed.
show.
I was incredibly intoxicated. And here was the thing it was just because I thought we were just going over, at that point, you have to realize, like, the video content I was doing was so pathetic, right? Like, the stuff I was putting out was really insecure. Like, I was doing stuff that other people were doing in a really terrible way. So the first couple episodes of the podcast for me were really awesome because I got to sit there and, like, I remember I was dressed less like an adult than I am today. I had on shorts and just like a short sleeve T-shirt and a hat. And I just remember fumbling my way through every bit of the conversation. The coolest part of that for me was it was the first time I had ever been really super comfortable with having conversations with the people that I knew legitimately were way more successful than I was and smarter than I was. And I still kind of feel that way sometimes when we talk about certain shit. And I was excited to do the show with you guys because I had never really done anything like that before, right?
Sure.
It was really easy for me prior to doing that stuff to give myself the excuse of, like, individuality. But, like, as soon as I did that, I also wanted to do it more. And I was aware that I was like, I got a lot of shit to learn before I figure out some of what these guys are talking about.
So would you say that from the start, this has helped you learn to just go live and speak better and how to hone your message and craft better?
I think it's just made me more comfortable with me. The great thing about, like, doing stuff like this is people just get to opt into whatever you're doing or opt out. And my fragile little heart likes that, right? Like, if people don't like what I'm talking about, they just go away. They don't tell me bye. They don't do anything. They just opt out. And if people like what we're doing, they opt in. So then they're even more kind of glommed on. We got a dude sitting here today who legitimately drove 7 hours, right? Like, I love
thank
that
you for coming
so
out,
much.
Foster.
Like, I love it so much that anybody...
Everybody buy Aaron Foster a fucking drink. Get him
Right,
wasted
yeah.
before we leave.
Well, and that's
Tomorrow.
Cool. Like, I just think that's super cool, and it's also, like, still really weird.
I think it just kind of goes back to, like, we have this philosophy, at least in our business, and I know Nick does
Not that
too.
Aaron's weird, just that he likes
Just
us.
about the ideology of everything being a meritocracy, and we were hell bent when we joined businesses and became business partners. We were hell bent on never asking anybody to do anything that we haven't already done, or that we wouldn't do, right? And, like, y'all can go look, right? Like, we have a dude who shoots video for us all day now. And I still have trouble sometimes getting people on our team to, like, for lack of a better word, like, man up and get in front of the camera and just fail forward and stuff. And it's easy to say, like, oh, just do it. You can go look on this shit's out there. Y'all scroll back far enough, you'll see the early podcast episodes. They are trash. And I wish they weren't there, but they're a great reminder of, like,
Let's talk about that, though. Like, the evolution was we went from a garage studio
yes,
to
be live.
Be Live, which was awful.
We did the trial version, not all the features.
Yeah, we didn't pay for it. And what was the straw that broke the camel's back was we did not show up for a live interview.
Yeah.
Because we were traveling.
Yeah.
Kelderman had
to do it himself.
The least equipped human being to, like, just start changing shit up on the fly.
And it was with Kyle Draper.
Yeah,
that's
It was the Kyle Draper interview that it was just a complete wreck. I think you were doing it from your closet.
I was telling Patrice about it before we started the show. I was like, easily it was the most discombobulated. I 100% did it from my closet.
Yeah. So from there we evolved, right? So like if you look at your real estate business, you know what it looked like in the very beginning probably doesn't look like the same today. You've evolved. We evolved to then going and finding a studio.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we bought in. We paid money to use the studio.
We were losing money to produce this show.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all know this. It's not much. We actually officially make money to do this podcast now, and we used to pay money to do it for a long time. Scruffy Duffy's now pays us a shit. No, I'm just kidding. But somebody does. It's not them. But it's cool. Like, we actually paid a lot to do this for a long time, and the only reason we kept it going, one, is because we had great partnerships, but we were just really comfortable with fucking up and failing forward. If you guys remember the first Take 10 Listings webinar, that we did too. We tried to start a coaching company at one point. We used to do
By the way,
there are times.
But hold on. The Take 10 webinar was like the live show just right now.
Was just exactly. It was a
Where
disaster.
you got Matt
You're
tweaking
seeing
it
us
over
fail
here
right
like,
now. We thought the speakers would be louder, and we're sorry.
Yeah.
But
And
we started this coaching company that we eventually abandoned a little bit, I think.
No, we did.
Yeah,
we
we abandoned
did.
it a little bit.
It's
But
gone.
we wanted to do a webinar of how you could take 10 listings a month. We took 27 last month, by the way. I don't know how many Nick took, but we took 27.
18 listings.
But it was still more than 10,
That's
so we
still-
still get to be on
still
the
pretty
webinar. But the
good.
webinar was called How to Take 10 Plus Listings a Month. And I, through some of my technical backdoor shit, invited every realtor in the nation. Like 3 times via ultimate shit. Igor's scratch. He's like, that's super illegal. It was. I'm sorry. Anyway, we had like 400 people sign up for this webinar, and we didn't even have software to run a webinar on. We were like, I was like, I'll figure that shit out a couple hours before. We're going live at 6 o'clock on a Sunday night, which, by the way, after looking back, is like the worst time to do a webinar. Didn't really do a lot of market research there at all. And we're still struggling to figure out how to make the fucking camera work at like 5:59. We haven't game planned what we're going to talk about. Like nothing, bro. I don't know that anybody got anything out of that. But I say that all to say that all that shit was just some stuff on the way to a journey to sort of where we are now, which is living, honestly, a very surreal existence with you guys, which is super cool.
That and then let's look at. I mean, we've had Armando Montalongo on from Flip This House. We've had Tarek El Moussa from Flip or Flop. We've got other guests lined up. That
Don't call him Tarek. He loses his mind.
Tarek. Yep. Did I call him Tarek just now?
No. I'm saying I have.
Yeah. And those have evolved into like Armando and Tarek send messages to me like, it does evolve into real relationships because of this show. So if you're looking at it to evolve into your business, one, what are you doing video-wise? Like, video's killing it now in your business, right?
100%. We literally brought somebody on full-time just to do video. And that, as far as the technical side, I think is huge, right? If you're not creating a lot of content and focusing on that as a dollar productive activity, like you need to really get on board with that. And then I think the other message is, if you're starting with the end in mind and thinking that it's going to be like it is at the end right in the beginning, like that's crazy, right? We started this podcast drinking. We didn't even drink vodka sodas. There was just a handle of Tito's there, just drinking vodka and testing out some dude's equipment. And a couple years later, we're having conversations with Tarek El Moussa and forming relationships with people over the nation. Like, it's pretty cool, but all we ever committed to was doing this every Wednesday.
Well, and
we never didn't show up.
You didn't even know I was about to say this, but Patrice even said this thing before the show. She said, I think one of the things that I found like kind of most impressive is that you guys somehow figure out a way at 3 o'clock on every Wednesday to do this thing. And I told her, I said, that honestly is a testament to wanting to do this show, because there's plenty of stuff on my calendar that I will straight kick off because I just don't want to do it. If anybody saw my assistant video the other day, like I'm legitimately trying to hire an assistant just to manage my ridiculous ass to like hold me to stuff, right? But this has been the one thing on my calendar that for 120 episodes, realistically, if we're talking about the garbage we put out before the studio.
We didn't even start counting until we went to the studio.
That like I've just every Wednesday been like, that's what I'm gonna go do. And that might be the best part of all of this is one of the 2 or 3 things every week that I am excited to do that I'm just not gonna move. And probably in any venture that you're taking on, that's probably the one thing you need to be looking for is like, is there anything else I would rather do more than this? And for me right now, it's not. Like like every Wednesday, I'm down to do this, right? So
I guess that's a good jumping off point. How is your Murder's here. How has your Nick in the last, we've been doing this for officially about 2.5, oh Jesus, there was the 3 years. 2.5 or 3 years. 2.5 years. How has your life changed, whether it's with the podcast or how has your business and life changed in the last 2.5 years?
I mean, it's only gone up from there. I mean,
Just rocket
more
to the
alcohol, right? No, I mean, look, it's for me in this sense, it's made me more comfortable just being out there on video and camera, right? Where I would have never done that before on my own. Sure. If you watch any videos I did, I think I talked to Wayne about this. Like Wayne, I don't remember what
Wayne's
episode.
been on the show.
Yeah, what episode?
What up,
was that?
Wayne?
Episode
Wayne, friend of
whatever.
the show.
Jesse will have to tell us what episode that was.
Coach of Hero Nation. And, he could talk to a camera all day long and somehow just make it look natural, right? I still don't feel comfortable, or I don't feel like I'm able to do that just yet, right? And so just doing this more and more, it's made us be a lot more, even though we go rails off at time, we still have more structure than we lead people on to believe.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Right.
For
and
sure.
so from that, it's the same thing how we relay that in our business. So our video, I send out more videos to my clients now than ever before. Right. And there's structure to it. And the speaking part and making it sound legit has come from this.
Just
almost
a lot
3
of practice,
years. Yeah.
And you use viral marketing, right, for all your client-facing stuff?
Viral marketing. Yep. They're not a sponsor, so hopefully they will be since we keep bringing them up.
Exactly.
Now
Also,
that they know
you
what we're
do-
truly
yeah.
about.
We'll just start naming stuff we want to be sponsors. Maserati.
Commissions Inc. is not a sponsor.
Vacations to other places.
Right?
Yes.
I think, and Kelderman could probably relate to this, the coolest thing for me has been like y'all get to see this maybe now. I'm self-aware enough to know that not everybody's been watching the podcast as long as we've been doing it. There's
Why
probably
would
a lot
they?
of people here that are now watching the podcast, since Matt and I have been business partners, since we've had some great trajectory and since some good things have happened in our lives. We made a commitment to do this when, one, we weren't even really financially right. Two, I didn't feel like I had anything to fucking contribute whatsoever. And there was absolutely no sense of authority in what we were saying at any point in time whatsoever, right? And I feel like that can resonate with a lot of people that are dealing with that hesitancy to create content, to put themselves out there, to be the local expert, to be whatever it is. Understand, we didn't have any of that either.
But
the only
wait,
commitment we made was showing up.
But with that being said, you were going through the same problems that everyone else was going through.
Exactly.
So you had authority from it because you were going through it at that time where you've not already been there. You're not fast. You're not trying to go back in time 10 years like some of these coaches or gurus out there who 10 years ago, this is what I was doing.
Yeah.
Right. You were going through it right then and there. And what we were talking about was the same issues.
So maybe it was more effective.
I definitely think it's more effective. 100%.
I'll say you don't even have to go back to the old crappy episodes. You can just go where we started in the studio. If you just go back and watch episode 1, which I think was just the 3 of us, if you just want to talk about where life was at, I was 5 months away from a divorce or separation, a year away from a divorce, turbo broke.
Yeah.
Right? If you just go back and watch that very first episode, whatever I was saying in that episode, understand I was saying under the guise of a guy whose marriage was failing, who had no money. Yeah. So whatever the hell that sounds like to you, that was a super broken fucking clueless person in that video. And we've done 100 since then, and it's way better now.
It's amazing.
Well, the divorce is final. Whoa!
Yeah. So if shit's not working, just start a podcast and do it for 100 episodes.
Just start a podcast, do it for 100 episodes.
Everything comes together.
Things will be
That's
different.
all you gotta do, I guess.
No, I still drive my bus into many walls.
So where do we, let's talk about how we keep evolving. What do we see the next 100 shows? Because I will say the toughest thing from here is trying to continue to produce content that doesn't necessarily feel like we're repeating ourselves every single day. Because there was a stretch of 30 shows that felt like it was damn mindset the whole time.
Yeah.
What did I tell you, Patrice?
Mindset.
And
episodes
we turned it into a bit, though.
Episodes I told Patrice, she said, when she was talking about how long we've been doing this, I said, there was a time, and I wouldn't be able to give you actual episodes numbers, but if I was just guessing, 45 to 75, 50 to 80, where there was this 30 show stretch where we just were doing it. We weren't putting a ton into it. We were showing up. We were staying committed to it, but we weren't in alignment about where we wanted any of this to go. We weren't in alignment about anything that was happening, and we were just kind of doing it. And I feel like that's just part of the whole journey too. Is just every once in a while, it's I don't really want to be here. I don't want to keep doing this. But I'm gonna kind of keep showing up for a little bit. That's even happened on this damn show, which is so ridiculous.
And how does that relay in your business? How many times are you like, man, I don't want to do this shit anymore?
How does it relay in your business, your mindset, your real life to just be look, sometimes things aren't great. Sometimes it's just bad, worse, and horrible, and I have to figure out which one it is till I get to the other side, and then I can make it good, great, better, whatever, all that other stuff. But that's applicable to emotional crap, business crap, this show.
But I think here's the deal.
All of it.
You're 100% right. And if you go back and watch a lot of those middle episodes, they're probably not very good. They're not very entertaining. But at no point during that entire stretch was there ever anybody who had a text message that was sent that was like, "Hey man, I can't make it today." You know what I mean? Like that's the whole kind of message. Which again, we'll bring it back to mindset, like we always do. Is there was never any threat of none of us showing up.
Yeah.
And I said to talk about the next 100 episodes. This is where, and you guys have been hanging out. We've been here since like 3. So if you've been hanging out with us for a little while, you kind of get to see a behind the scenes about how the podcast works. If we're talking about it in terms of actionable advice about creating content and getting out of your head and getting out there and stuff, we figure out what we're going to talk about on this podcast about 3 minutes before the podcast starts. And I don't suggest that you do that, right? We could be more dialed in. I say that to say you get very used to, with enough repetitions, understanding and feeling the pulse of what your audience wants, right? Meaning, if your audience is a demographic of people that you want to reach with your real estate message, if it's a certain, if it's whatever it is, when you connect with them for long enough, consistently enough, the conversation becomes very easy. There was a time, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but I certainly do. We actually used to have a 30-minute time slot on our calendar on Tuesdays where we would talk about what we were going to talk about on the podcast on Wednesday. Now we talk about it literally at the bar before the podcast starts. I don't say that in a braggadocious way. I say it to say, just put yourself out there, and all this becomes more comfortable. When it becomes more comfortable, you realize the conversation is already being had before you. It's already being had for you. All you have to do is start participating. And so the more repetitions you get in, the more comfortable you get with producing content and getting out there, the less in your head you are, and it just fucking goes.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I would agree. And I would say for our next 100, it's evolving into bigger and better guests, right? So bringing the guest back in where if you're going to do videos in your business right now, there's a gentleman we all know, David Fleming. Right, David Fleming, great guy, implementer,
Cowboy Fleming,
Cowboy Fleming, and he took some advice and started. He interviewed one of his city council members to do a video about property tax protesting. Right, and so just doing those interviews and then sending that out to your database. Like if you're not comfortable just jumping on video, then interview somebody. I'm sure that you can ask some questions to other people, right?
Here's the thing is whether it's video or even just more so just implementing something, right? Like I think video is the thing that we're obviously all going to harp on because we've seen how it's like done some crazy shit in our business.
Yeah.
But the reality is at some point, if you're not implementing anything, like if you're just not implementing anything, I'm doing this ridiculous exercise right now where I'm tracking my days in 15-minute increments. And it's been incredibly revealing because you know what I do most days?
Nothing.
Don't work much past lunch, I can tell you that. Right?
Oh, that's not a good thing to say.
No,
on
and
the
here's
podcast.
the thing is to put my whole thing on Front Street is one, there's other things I do for my business that aren't necessarily on that piece of paper.
Sure, you don't know
But
sometimes when you are working.
There's also a whole lot of dead time. And what it's really allowed me to do is become super hyper aware of some of the gaps in my business, and I can be much more intentional about how to fix that stuff. And one thing that I will say that I've probably enjoyed most about all of the stuff that we've done together, even as far as vacations. I mean, my 41st birthday, we were all sitting at dinner and decided to take a trip to Telluride, and we were in Telluride a couple of weeks later, right? Like, the reality is I just love how much we all implement things, and that's probably what people need to do more of in their business is just find the thing that they want to do and legit run at it, right?
Well, how many times do you see that, like, man, I'm going to do this, and then you go back and talk to them a week or a month later, and they're like, nah, I'm still learning, I'm still researching,
I hate to interrupt. One of our other sponsors just walked in. You want to give him a shout out?
Bit.
Sponsor Mortgage Mike just walked in the door.
Mortgage Mike, one of our brand new sponsors of the podcast. He's late. We usually introduce our sponsors before the show. Or they show up a fucking half hour in. I guess we got to do it there.
Yeah. But here's the thing. He's an amazing lender. So if you want him to show up on time for your loans, you know that he's going to be doing that instead of coming to our show.
Yes.
So mortgagemikeoftexas.com, I think, is his email address. Or his, yes. By the way, Kelly Holland, first-time viewer here from her group, New Hampshire.
Oh, my gosh.
Loved it and look forward to tuning in more.
I know, I know one person who's actually from New Hampshire. Like, they're here.
Yeah.
And they were like, I was once from New Hampshire. And I'm like,
can I blow you guys' mind?
And now I know two.
Y'all want to know where I'm from?
You made my story worse, though. It's just better when you know one.
Harvey's going to like this.
Like Delaware, probably.
From Delaware.
That's another place.
Y'all seen Wayne's World? Hi, I'm in Delaware. Wayne's World? No.
No,
Did somebody get Foster got the Wayne's World
no.
joke.
I'm just gonna
he did.
just
He
gonna
did.
let him wither away
Unbelievable.
up here.
He did.
Y'all are just driving me. Y'all are older than
Oh
me.
yeah, I don't know what his problem is.
So walk me through your vision of this the next part of the show.
So I think
Not right now, like for the future.
Like what we're gonna
Not
do
for
for
the
rest
next
of
10 minutes,
next
yeah.
10 minutes.
Brian's like, I hope the fucking sound holds together.
Here's what I love
Duct
about
tape.
here's what I love about the show is that we've tried to do so many other things around this show. We've done Tour Academy. We've done other stuff. You remember when if you want to take it real back to before this podcast happened, I actually had Nick on my own show called Coffee with Closers. I've been failing forward for a long time.
That never
I
got
still-
published, by the way.
It never got published. It was too embarrassing. I still got mugs that say closer on them. I had a whole fucking thing. I spent all my money. I was like, this is going to be my big break. We've tried to do so many things around this show and adjacent to this show. And the only consistent thing in our lives regarding everything that we've done together has been the show. And so I don't know what's next for the show. I know that every year or every episode or whatever, it's gotten a little bit bigger. We're going to have better guests. We're going to probably have a more dialed in studio. We're going to have a better everything. It's going to be more valuable content. I'm really excited to see, if you want my honest opinion, I'm really excited to see the next couple of things that we fuck up trying to grow the show even bigger. Because I think that everything that we do, just like the fucking speakers today, like who knew? Who knew these goddamn speakers wouldn't be big enough for a whole room, right? I love that everything that we do is just one more little bit of thing that's slightly imperfect that moves us forward. Because I think so many people are chasing perfection. And in the pursuit of perfection comes so much dismay. It comes so much discouragement. It comes so like it's all of that
But
stuff.
there's inactivity.
Inactivity because you get shut down because the last thing didn't work. If you just keep going, think like, yes, you know what? The podcast still kind of sucks sometimes. But my life is a lot different than it was 2 years ago, and I'm really happy about that. So I'm not even concerned about what the next thing for the podcast is. I'm worried about what the next thing we screw up is because I know my life's going to get better because of it.
I love this Thomas the Train moment we had where Brian's just like, just keep going.
Yeah.
Sugar, 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 sugar.
By the way, Derek still has some green screen gold that he needs to drop.
Derek, so if you guys don't know Derek, when I used to take the show out, Derek was our producer at the studio. He's the voiceover you hear at the beginning of the show, like reading off all of our stats like some bougie dicks. But he also would get so much green screen footage of us that we never did because there was a time where Brian had these billionaire ideas. And so every show we would just turn Brian's mind loose on some absurd thing. And it had a 50% hit rate. Right? There were some that were like, that's funny as hell. And there were some other ones that were like, somebody please turn the cameras off so quickly. But
There's a big SNL vibe to the podcast where like some skits stick for a while and they go away.
Dude, the one that he shot that we still have of the Eagles and the explosions and all of us trying to mean mug the camera is the funniest damn thing.
Hey,
do we have that?
Okay, hold up. Let me get you.
So
That needs to be our outro if you have that.
right. So Joan said that she still has some of your links to your Coffee for Closers. So we might have to find that shit. And get that out
shows
there.
how long Joan's been in our
Nick
world.
and
too,
Brian, hour-long conversation on Coffee with Closers.
I would hate
I'm
to
wearing
see
a
that.
Xenia suit. I'm so buttoned up to the knot. I'm so taking it so seriously, bro.
What did I wear?
That
a shirt with a good home team logo on it and some new era fucking lawn mowing shoes.
it's cool to be able to document.
He has
all
so
the
much
dumb
more money
stuff
than
you
me.
did
It's crazy.
before.
I'm just talking shit about the stuff I can. It's ridiculous.
I love it. Well, boys,
Dude,
That's about all I can take of us.
I'm kind of ready to start drinking.
Let's do
Yeah.
it. If you're
Start
not here,
drinking.
get here. If you are here, we're done.
yeah. So
Jesse.
look,
Oh, sorry. Wait, we still have more words.
yeah, just a few. So
Hang on.
first off, let's as we're growing, our first sponsor ever, Justin Nelson of Sphere Rocket VA. So sphererocketva.com. Look, you're wanting to learn the virtual assistant. I did not believe in that game at all. I did not believe
It's
in the
legit.
VAs. I did not believe in them. I have 5 of them now, I believe, and it's been game changer. SphereRocketVA.com. Connect with Justin Nelson. You're going to find virtual assistants as low as $3 an hour. I promise you that. Right? We're interviewing Well, I interviewed because they didn't show up. I interviewed the virtual assistants.
We were doing stuff.
It ranges from $3 to $5 an hour, right? So go to Sphere Rocket VA, connect with Justin Nelson, tell him that the guys from the Only Real Estate Podcast, worth listening to him, sent you there, as well as Mortgage Mike. Michael DeBacker, Mortgage Mike, right? So if you're looking,
I will tell you guys this, and if you're looking on the live stream, I know we pump a lot of our own, like the Sphere Rocket VA. We never bring on a sponsor that we don't actually use. There's about 650 transactions this year sitting between the three of us. If you don't think that our vendors aren't super effing dialed in, we are only as good as the people that support us. And Mortgage Mike knocks our shit out of the park. So get connected with him. We'll have somebody post a link in the comments. What's their website?
MortgageMikeOfTexas.com.
MortgageMikeOfTexas.com. Make sure you check him out. If you're here live, talk to him because seriously, he's a different experience. It's been awesome working with him.
Jesse, let's go drink.
He wasn't ready yet.
I think you threw him off.
Keep talking, humming in the microphone.
You always give me when I'm doing something.
Oh, he's doing something. We're blowing it live.
Hey, thank you for watching. We truly appreciate it. Checking out another episode of the Only Real Estate Podcast worth listening to. If you're watching this on YouTube, please go ahead, hit that share button, hit that like button, and hit the subscribe button, right? We're dropping more stuff on YouTube constantly. If you're on iTunes, leave us a review, please. We're really, really focused on building up those reviews so we can get more searchable content on there. And if you're on Facebook, like everyone else is, go over and search the Only Real Estate Group worth being a part of. You're going to want to go join that group. I'm telling you right now, there's so much gold in there. So go join, share us on YouTube, and leave us that iTunes review. Please go do it right now. We'll see you on the next show.